for lab 5, if and else statements. For the first question, we had to create a list of our favorite foods and make an if and else statement that tells us where we should move based on the favorite foods. So for this, I created a variable called food, and I made my favorite food pasta. Based on what I wrote here, it's going to run if food is equal to pasta, move to Italy. So we're going to run that. It's going to say move to Italy. If I were to change it to sushi, it's going to tell me move to Japan. Oh, sorry. And if I were to change it to mango, it would say move to Dominican Republic, and sauerkraut would say move to Germany. For question 2, we have to take a number input from a user and return whether the number is positive, negative, or 0. So for this, I created a variable called number in which we would input an integer, and it'll say pick our number. So we're going to run this. It's going to say pick a number. We're going to pick the number 0, for example, because I wrote here if we use the if statement, writing if the number that we chose and inputted in our input function is equal to 0, it's going to print your number as 0. If we were to have inputted 6 instead of that, we would have had a positive integer because our number for our elif statement was greater than 1. So it printed that our number was positive. And here for this elif statement, if your number is less than 1, it's going to print that your number is negative. So if we run this again and we printed, we typed in negative 34, it's going to print your number is negative. For the next question, it's a little bit more complicated. Here we have to make a list of items from a store, and we're holding the items in our hand at checkout, and we're listing them from how much we want it from most to least, and we have a certain amount of money that we can spend. We want to see how many items we can get going down the list. So to do this, I created a budget of $15, a grocery list with eggs, bread, milk, and cheese. This is my order of how much I want these items, and this is the price of each item. And I printed each item that we have and the price for those. And I created 3 variables to determine the sums for our items here. So for sum 1, it's going to be the addition of the price of eggs and the price of milk. For sum 2, we're adding the price of eggs, milk, and eggs, bread, and milk. And for sum 1, we were adding the prices for eggs and bread. For the second one, we're adding eggs, bread, and milk. And for our sum 3, we're adding the prices of eggs, bread, milk, and cheese. We're going to use these values in our if statements here. So for this one, we have here the price of eggs, which is less than 15, and if it's less than 15, it's going to print check, and what total we have for that, which is 4, because our eggs are $4. If we use our sum 1 variable here, which is our price of eggs and bread together, and if that's less than 15, it's going to print bread check, because we can get bread and the total of bread and eggs together, which is $7. We use the elif statement now, and if that sum was greater than 15, which is our budget price, you can only buy eggs. And then we move to our sum 2, which is eggs, bread, and milk. And if that was less than 15, our budget price, it's going to print milk check, which it did, because our total here is now $11, which printed because we printed the total of our sum 3, which is eggs, bread, and milk. And that is less than 15. But if it was greater than 15, we would only be able to buy eggs and milk. Eggs and bread. For our sum 3, we have eggs, bread, milk, and cheese. And those added together, if they were less than 15, we would say cheese check, and then we would have the total price of everything. Unfortunately, we printed that we can only buy eggs, bread, and milk because the sum 3 was greater than 15. For our last exercise, we are creating a list of names varying in if the first letter is capitalized or not. Now, with a for loop and an if statement, we can check if each item is titled, making a new list to hold the values that are titled and printing out that new list. So for this example, we chose a couple of random names, which is Adriana, Samantha, Sebastian, and Alex, with 2 names capitalized. And we're creating a new list with names cap, which is going to be our capitalized names, and we have it empty so that we can add these names into the list. We're using a for loop, so for name in random names, which is our list here, we're checking to see which names are capitalized using this function title. And if the item is titled, the names is going to append to our new list, which is appending is going to add that name, and we're appending it to our new names list, which is names underscore cap, and that's our empty list here. So we're adding our capitalized names into our empty list, and we're creating a new list and printing those names.